Hello, everyone. Welcome back to BMPCC4k.tech, the premier tech blog dedicated to all things Blackmagic, whether it's the original 1080 pocket cinema camera, the cinema camera 2.5K, or the revolutionary pocket cinema camera 4K and the 6K and now the 12K. Dedicated to all things that allow independent filmmakers and big media companies to be creating amazing images, amazing color science, and more importantly, DaVinci Resolve, which is an ultimate powerhouse. So as some of you've known, I've been away. I did a documentary, an award-winning documentary. 90% plus was all shot on Blackmagic cameras, whether it's the Pocket OG, 1080, the cinema camera, and ultimately in the 4K. And it was entirely edited on DaVinci Resolve, and it's done really well in film festivals and is still running the film festival circuit. So I'm very pleased. But today I am introducing a whole new line of thinking, a whole avenue of lenses that has kind of been there in plain sight. If you look at some of the forums, the old forums 5-10 years ago, you find this discussion of 16mm lenses. Not all necessarily super 16, but 16mm lenses nonetheless. These lenses, this specific one that I'm going to be reviewing today, is a Carl Zeiss Jena. It's the Vario-Tevidon, and it's 10mm to 120 at f.2. That is an amazing range. But of course, I had to crop in. So the sensor was set to HD to 1080. I'm very familiar with the different sets of Carl Zeiss. Whether it's, I do own a set of Zeiss Jenas, which are full frame, amazing primes. Not like the contacts. The contacts have a different look to them. So I own a few contacts too, not a whole set. But I do own a set of the classic Zeiss, which are a reimagining of the original contacts glass. And they're all amazing. They all have their own unique characteristics. And I'm also very familiar with highly digital, super crisp, super sharp lenses like the Sigmas. So this lens here, and keep in mind, this lens here, this 16mm lens, this was designed for industry. This wasn't like consumer grade. This isn't just for the consumers. These are made of steel, you know. It's solid. It's industrious. It has gears on it, right? You don't need to go 3D print your own gears and clamp them on and whatever. This is a lens designed for 16mm film. And looking at it right away and comparing it to a Sigma 18-35, which, you know, to me is a very, very narrow range, focal range, you could see the size is almost the same. The size is almost the same. So this is all shot in 1080. Okay, first let's deal with that. Everybody's going to be like, oh, but that's 1080. It's not 4K or 6K or 12K for that matter. Well, let me tell you, with a very sharp eye, and I have a very keen eye, it is almost indistinguishable from each other, a 1080 image from a 4K. And I did both. This 1080, I put it in a 4K, checked it out, compared it to a 1080. I couldn't tell the difference. I honestly couldn't. Zooming in, clicking back and forth with the naked eye, and that's staring at it, it's not playing. Just staring at a frozen image, I could not tell the difference. Now, I would be beyond unnerved if somebody could see that difference in a moving image when you're shooting film. If you could be like, oh no, I could totally see the difference between a 1080 and a 4K. So this is all 1080 footage here, put in a 4K UHD, ultra high definition, in a UHD timeline, and then it's exported as such. Can't tell the difference. So starting off, we're looking at it, and so we look at it. You could see the image gets darker, and I'm about 5 to 6 feet away from Captain America. I just applied a light grade, nothing crazy. I'm not a colorist, just enough to bring in the color, contrast, bring some of that stuff in. So here it is wide open, right? And I go through the different scenes, and this is scenarios. There's 18, 35 in the same distance, punched in. You know, it's a great image. This is a really great lens, surprising, full of character. I know everybody out there wants to use the black mist, you know, those filters and stuff to soften up your highly digitalized lenses. At 55, it's beautiful. I mean, it's an amazing, beautiful lens. And so I go through showing you guys just the different framing, and I'll show you guys full screen shots of all this, so you could decide for yourself. I mean, you could try zooming in and whatever, and to criticize the image, but the look itself, looking at it, look at that. That's at 90. That's a beautiful. So there's the end. That's the telephoto, you know, maximum of this lens. And so now we'll take a look at each of them. At 18, and keep in mind that hedge over to the left is you know, further away, so you could see the focal plane. It starts to get wider because it's really, really narrow at wide open. 2.8, it's beautiful. 4.0, 5.6. It all depends what you're trying to do. Tons of character. Now the magic really turns on at 35. It is that dreamy look, wide open at all focal lengths. Wide open, it is a very much dreamy look. But that's what people are paying for with a filter to put on top of your very expensive, you know, modern, clinically sharp lenses. 55, gorgeous. Look at that bokeh. It is just gorgeous. It changes as we drop it down. You know, it gives you that different character. It depends. How do you want it? Do you want it, you know, just smooth creaminess in the background? You want it, you know, just slightly, you know, not too busy, but getting on the verge of being busy. I mean, that's beautiful. That's not sharp at 2.0. It is not. It's decent sharp. It's acceptable with character. But this lens, like I said, extremely surprising. But looking at it here in 90, whoa, 90 millimeter, beauty, beautiful lens. I am beyond impressed. I do not think my primes would function as such. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I have a stash of lenses that are going to be coming out. I'm going to be parting with some of them because I need to keep the inventory moving. But this lens is a total surprise. Very hard to find. I struggled to find you know, any information on it. It was custom, the mount, because I don't even know what kind of mount it originally has, but an amazing professional film rental house custom made a mount for it, and so it had the M39 on it, and I adapted it with the M39 and Micro Four Thirds. It's a great lens. Like I said, you want character, you want to create, and I mean, and it's not cheap character. It's not, you know, fuzzy, weird, you know, awkward. This is very cinematic. This lens, like, I would totally use it at 2.8. Hands down, I would use it at 2.8. And if I want, you know, a bigger focal plane, open that bad boy up. 2.0, if you really want to create a very unique image that it, you know, that people are trying to get with these very expensive black mist or whatever, pro mist or whatever they're called. I don't own one, but I know that people do buy them and use them. But it's you know, the 16 millimeter lenses, the ones that were used for cinema or television or film industry, they, you know, the standards that they made them with, the you know, technology, with the mechanics, they're built to last. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, stay tuned, man. I'm going to be dropping some insane footage that is going to be coming up in the next few weeks. I got a stash of lenses that I'm pulling out of the vault here, dusting them off. Some of these never before seen stuff. This isn't no, you know, landscape stuff. I'm going to employ the Marvel cinematic characters here because my budget is 0. but I make this stuff because I'm passionate. I want you guys to see what I see. I want you guys to see what I discover. If I discover something, and mind you, let's back up here in a conversation. As people are probably sitting there going, well, I don't want to shoot in 1080. Well, here's a little secret. Okay, maybe you don't know this, but that 1080 image, you can get it, and it's super small. That 1080 file is very small compared to a 4K file. You could get that 1080, put it in a 4K timeline, and export it as a 4K. The image, it's negligible. With a microscope, zoomed in at 300, you would struggle to see a frozen still to see the difference, and you wouldn't. Your eyes would be playing tricks on you, going, oh yeah, I see it. I see this little bit, and it's not. And you could still have a 4K. There it is, deliverable. If you have a Windows, you could send it out in DNX. If you have an Apple, you could send it out as a ProRes in DaVinci Resolve, because DaVinci Resolve is the best editing software. But so get that out of your head. Quit thinking, oh, 4K is where it's at. Yeah, you could do it as a deliverable from a 1080. Wrap that around your mind. And there's plenty of blogs that have been out there from amazing cinematographers in the industry that talk about that negate the fact that 4K is superior. Yes, it allows a greater coverage of the sensor and for 6K and 12K reframing, but 1080 is where it's at. If you don't want stacks and totes full of external hard drives, terabytes and terabytes upon terabytes, you can use the 1080. I'm becoming a convert to the 1080 16mm universe. And I hope you guys stay tuned, because this Carl Zeiss Jena Vario-Tevidon 18-90 blew my mind. 2.0, like I said earlier, I misspoke. So anyways, stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and share this video. Share it. I want everybody to see this. And see, the proof is right there in the pixels, my friends. All right, everybody. Take care, and let's keep the magic alive.